Hey, welcome to the Empowered and Free podcast. My name is Erin Kimbrell, and I'm a counselor, certified life coach, breathwork coach, and small town mom of two. I know firsthand what it feels like to live with high functioning anxiety. For most of my life, I had so much mental mess, anxiety, people pleasing, perfectionism, overthinking, constant worrying, and never feeling good enough. On my decade-long journey to feeling better, I've learned how to take back my life from high-functioning anxiety and helped others to do the same through my coaching and breathwork programs. Now I want to share everything I know with you. This podcast will help you feel empowered over your high-functioning anxiety and free to finally live the life of your dreams. Now, grab a cup of coffee, get comfy, and dive into the episode. I'm Erin Kimbrell, and this is the Empowered and Free podcast. Hey, friend. Welcome back to the podcast. Today, I want to talk to my people, my overwhelmed working moms. I see you. I feel you. I am you. And the more and more I talk to women, especially again, women who are moms and women who work, we feel just like we're pulled in 1,000 different directions every single day. I want to speak to you. I want to pour some life into you today. I want to give you some tips that hopefully will be supportive, that will help you, that will encourage you, and remind you that you are doing the hard thing. You are doing the work, and just keep going, right? Like you've totally got this. So I hope today offers you a little bit of encouragement and a reminder that you got this, friend. You know that here on the podcast, we talk about a lot of things, but the main thing we talk about is high functioning anxiety. And if you checked out the last episode, episode 24, high functioning anxiety has some BFFs, right? Perfectionism, people pleasing, overwhelm. Those are the ones we talked about the last episode. And the reason I bring this up is because we want to figure out where your anxiety is coming from. Where is that stemming from? Like, what is the main reason that it's there? And a lot of times it's stemming from this place of overwhelm, this place of just like too much to do, not enough time. Why are there 50,000 tabs open in my brain every single day, all of which are like glitching? Why do I have a calendar that's super full of things? And this feeling that there's just not enough of you to go around. Like everyone needs you. Your work needs you. Your home life needs you. Your kids need you. Maybe your partner needs you. Your friends need you. Your extended family needs you. It just feels like there's too much. If you've listened to any part of my story, especially episode 1, you know that I already am a highly sensitive person. So one characteristic that kind of goes along with that is I feel overwhelmed very easily and pretty often. Once I was able to really work through a lot of my anxiety, heal it at the root, not have anxiety show up for me every single day, and then notice the difference in my body in what felt like anxiety, what felt like stress, and what felt like overwhelm. Okay. That was kind of my starting point into learning even like what overwhelm even felt like and why that came up in my life and then what to do about it. Like, how do I overcome that feeling of being overwhelmed? So I just want to start simple for you today because the last thing I want to do is have this episode cause more overwhelm in your life. That is not the point. I know you're busy. I know you don't have a whole lot of time. So let's run through 5 quick tips I have for you for overwhelmed working moms with high functioning anxiety. You know, anytime I share any tips here on the podcast or talk about overwhelm specifically, I want to remind you, please do not be a perfectionist and tackle these all at once. That can just spin you straight on into a state of feeling overwhelmed when there's too much to do and again, not enough time. Instead, I want you to choose one of the tips that I talk about, one that actually feels doable, one that doesn't feel like this huge mountain, but one that feels like, oh, I could do that. Like maybe I could work through that today or tomorrow or this week. Please don't tackle all 5 of these. That is not the goal. It's never the goal. So again, my perfectionist people, again, I see you, I feel you, I love you too, but not what we're doing here today. Okay. My tip number 1. Take time to decompress. If you follow me on Instagram, you see me almost every single day, or every single day that I can actually post on Instagram. I try my best, guys, but sometimes there's just too much going on. Okay. But most days, especially Monday through Friday, when I'm working full time at my job as a counselor, I come home and I'm a little overwhelmed sometimes, right? Like maybe it's been a busy day, maybe it's been a tough day, maybe I've dealt with some really hard hitting issues. I come home and I decompress outside on my porch every day. If you know on Instagram, you see me, I'm in my hammock 99% of the time. Even when I don't post, I am in my hammock. That's Saturday, Sunday too. My hammock is like my space, my vibe. I've usually got some kind of beverage. Maybe it's water, maybe it's some little kind of fun, like summery drink. Sometimes it's my mushroom coffee that I love, love, love. Everyday dose. You can use my code Erin Kimbrell, that's my full name, to get 5 free travel packs. Love it. If you have any questions, send me a message. I'm happy to help. But I have some kind of beverage and I'm out there in my hammock and I'm just taking some deep breaths. Other times I sit on my stairs of my porch and I look out onto the water in front of our house and I'm just like taking deep breaths, like regulating my nervous system. And so, my friend, you have to be able to do that thing for you. This has looked different for me in different seasons of my life. When my kids right now are how old are they? They're 8 and 12. And when they were younger and maybe I didn't feel like safe leaving them inside while I was outside, I would just lay in my bed or lay on the couch and close my eyes and put a pillow over my face and like cover my ears. I remember I'm laughing because like now I'm remembering back. There was one point in my time that I had earmuffs and my headphones. So I put my headphones in first, my little earbuds or whatever. Then I'll put the earmuffs over top of that. And then I would put on my eye mask, like high freaking maintenance. That's me. Okay. But I just had to do what I had to do to decompress. Um, if my husband was home, go back to my room, shut my door, turn my lights off, and just let the day fall away. What do you do to do that right now for yourself? I want you to think in this moment, this is never guilt, shame, blame game. If you don't, it's okay. This is just me loving on you and reminding you that it is so important. We cannot be on 24/7. You go to work and you're on. You're a professional, you're successful, you got it, like taking care of freaking business. Then you come home and other people need you. Arguably, the most important people in your life need you and they need you to show up. And I know that you want to show up as the mom who is there, who's supportive, who's loving, who's available, who asks them about their day and helps them with their issues. And that is extremely tough when you're already overwhelmed. So, what kind of things can you do to help yourself feel better so that you can show up for those people who you love more than anything? What helps you feel your best? Do you need that time alone like me? I'm an introvert. I have to have that time to recharge. Again, as a highly sensitive person, I get overstimulated when I'm overwhelmed a lot of times. So I just need some time and some space and some quiet and some darkness. And I need to close my eyes and lay down. That's what I need. But what do you need? Again, what helps you feel your best? How do you recharge? These are things that you get to explore if you've never done that before. So as you're thinking about how to decompress, again, what do you want to do? But then also, how long realistically does this take? If you've been working 8, 10 plus hours to come home and think that in 5 minutes you can just be recharged is like impossible. Think about our phones, our devices. Even with a lightning charger, it takes more than 5 minutes. You're the same way. So, how long would this realistically take for you to take care of yourself and decompress? And do you feel like you can ask for this? Like, are there people in your home that could be understanding of that, that could be supportive of that, that might even can help you figure out how to put that in place? I really, really hope so for your sake. I know everybody's situations are different. Some people feel like they come home from a demanding job and they're entered into a home that is also super demanding, that is like a high level of care. And that's a lot. So if that's you, if you feel like you're on the verge of like, I don't even know how to start to take this time, I would be happy to help you talk through that. Send me a message. Okay. Maybe there's some things you haven't considered. I know you're incredibly intelligent and maybe you have considered all the options, but you are so important and you are so worthy of taking this time, taking care of yourself and decompressing from your busy day. So that is my tip number one. Take some time to decompress. Okay. Tip number two kind of rolls right off of tip number one. And this is set some boundaries with your family. Backing up to your time to decompress. When is that? What do you do to take that time? What do you expect of them, your family members, when you're taking that time? So let me give you a quick example. And I'm sharing this example because I've gotten this question from clients before on my group program, Empowered and Free from Anxiety. One of the really awesome questions a few weeks ago was like, wait, but how do you do that? We weren't even on topic. I don't even know how we got on this topic, but it's okay. And they were like, how do you actually get that time, ask for that time, take that time and then stick to it? And so I want to remind you, just as I reminded them, that number one, it starts somewhere, right? Maybe it hasn't been perfect. I think back to the Erin years ago, who didn't even know how to take care of herself, literally. I remember in my class for one of my first counseling classes when I was getting my master's degree, and this professor kept talking about self-care, self-care, self-care. This is before self-care was a buzzword, right? But I was like, what is this guy talking about? He keeps saying, and I remember, and I did not ask questions, y'all, because I'm like, nervous Nelly. Okay. But I raised my hand to say, like, what do you mean? Like, what you're saying those words, but what do you actually mean? And I remember him saying, like, the ways you take care of yourself. And I was just like, blink, blink. What? That does not compute. I still do not understand what you're talking about. Okay. So everybody starts somewhere. I did not even know what this meant. And it's okay if you feel the same way. But what are the things that you do, again, that make you feel your best, that help you recharge your battery? I like to say, and clients love this, is like a breakthrough when I explain it this way. Self-care sometimes are those hard things that we do to take care of ourselves every day. This could be getting enough sleep. This could be working out. This could be walking every day. This could be taking your time to decompress. It could be eating nutritious foods. Like we could go on and on and on and on. And I break this all down inside of my Empowered and Free course. So you got to figure out what you do to help you feel better, right? And then also you have to set those boundaries. You have to give your family some rules, some expectations of what that's going to look like for you and how they can support you in that. So for me, I have like a couple times in the day where I really make sure that this is a priority. First thing in the morning. And then, like I said, when I get home from work. And I have kind of different places that I do this. I do this either in my bedroom with the door shut, or I do this outside on my porch. So my expectations for my family, those kind of boundaries that I've set for them are, hey, when I'm taking this time, it's really important to me. Like I really, really need this because I don't want to be a snappy mom and I want to be there to listen to you, but I really need this time for me to recharge myself, to help myself feel better. And what I need from you is for you to just give me some time. Please don't come in. Please don't interrupt. Like I'm going to be out here. I remember starting and saying, I'm going to be out here for 20 minutes. So that was one boundary I set, was like the amount of time. So I kind of gave a time estimate that would help them understand what that actually meant for me, like what I needed, because people can't read our minds. So we have to tell them what we need and give them that boundary, set it down. That way, if they happen to cross it, you can say, like, hey, I said I need 20 minutes and it's been 5. It's been 10. I need you to go back inside. I need you to give me some space for the rest of that time. It's not always easy. They are going to push your boundaries, whether it's intentionally, whether it's unintentionally, whether they don't really understand. This can go for your spouse too. So it's also about consistency. This is what I've explained to clients in the past. They're not going to always get it the first time because who really does? So be consistent. Don't jump all over their case if they do push your boundary. Okay, speaking from experience, I know I've done that before because I've been frustrated. I've been overwhelmed and was like, I just asked for this time, like, please. But anyway, try to be neutral, try to be calm, and just remind them, like, hey, I said I needed this. This is what I'm doing. And then for me, a third way I can think of this, as far as setting boundaries, is my sign to my family is like, if the door is closed, that means that I'm taking that time. Think about what that could look like for you. Think about what you need and how you can let them know very clear boundaries to explain those needs. Okay. So that's tip number 2. Set some boundaries with your family. Believe me, I will talk so much more about boundaries because they're my absolute favorite because I had none and now I have lots. Boundaries are going to be a part of my people pleasing course that will be coming out soon. If you missed it on the last episode, I talked about my mental health library of courses that I'm going to be offering soon. Overwhelm will be a course, how to overcome overwhelm. Again, I'll have one on people pleasing, boundary setting. I'll have one on perfectionism. Like, it's going to be so freaking good. So make sure you come back if you're listening to this in real time in just a couple months, and those will be ready. If you're listening to this in the future, go check out my website, erinkimbrell.com, and you'll see everything you need to know. Okay. It's going to be amazing. All right. Tip number 3 is I want you to check your expectations. Again, remember, we're not doing all the tips. Choose one tip. Maybe this is your tip. Check your expectations. And here's what I mean by that. The pressure that you're feeling right now, that overwhelm, which is again, too much happening. And I know you're feeling the pressure from that and you feel like kind of paralyzed by that. Or where do I even start? You feel like you can't breathe, right? Where's that pressure coming from? I know you feel like you got to do it all. And that's probably in many different areas of your life. I was talking to a friend last night and she was like, I'm sorry I didn't answer that text, which it wasn't an important text. You guys know, all the close people in my life know. If I text you and you don't respond back, I take literally no offense to that. If I need you, I'll call you. Okay. I get it. Again, I can feel overwhelmed as well. And I understand. Okay. But she was like, sorry I didn't answer that. Like, I just feel like I'm pulled in so many directions. She's got multiple kids. She works. Obviously, she is in other organizations in her life, like church. She has her own business as well. Like, this is a lot. We got a lot going on. A lot of us are very busy. And we feel pressure from all different areas of our life to get things done. So where's that coming from? Take some time to be with yourself for a minute and say, am I putting pressure on myself to get all these things done, to do things perfectly, to show up in my life in all these different areas, even though like that's impossible? Nobody has more than 24 hours in a day. We all got to sleep. I encourage you to get enough sleep. But in those 24 hours, we can only get so much done. So if we're thinking that we can do more than we actually can, we're going to constantly put that pressure on ourselves. We're going to feel like I'm not good enough. I'm not doing enough. I'm not productive enough. I'm not achieving enough. Like I'm falling behind and I'm failing. So if you've heard those thoughts in your mind, then I want you to notice that a lot of this pressure might be coming from yourself. If you think about your overwhelm, if a lot of that's stemming from work, let's say I was talking to a client a couple weeks ago who the majority of her pressure is coming from work. There is no end in sight. She doesn't know when things are going to get better. They need to hire some extra help. Okay. Then a lot of our overwhelm is coming from work. So what I'm just trying to help you do is pinpoint, is bring awareness. My clients probably roll their eyes at me every time I say that word, but awareness is the first step. We got to know what's going on to then fix what's going on. If your pressure is not coming from yourself, not coming from your work, is it coming from your roles as a mom or a wife or a partner, whatever that looks like for you? Is it coming from those roles in your life? Maybe even as a friend, as a caregiver, if you're caring for elderly parents, if you just have pressure from your extended family, like who is putting that pressure on you? Check where that's coming from. And then you can do some work on that. And again, stick with me for the long haul. Listen to my episodes. Come check out my programs and the way I can support you. And I will help you be able to work through that. You are not alone in this. We've got this. I want to help you get this figured out because being overwhelmed is a really tough feeling. And like I mentioned, it really kind of keeps us in this paralysis where we like feel like we don't do anything because we don't know what to do because there's so much to do. So we've run through the first 3 tips. Let's talk about tip number 4, which is delegate. You do not have to do it all. I know you're incredible at what you do. You're amazing. But that doesn't mean you have to do everything for everyone. This is one of the most common things that women who work outside the home, who have families to care for, feel is that I have to do it all because if I don't do it, who's going to do it? Or if I don't do it, no one else is going to do it well. And so here is my response to that. You, beautiful, intelligent human, have raised other beautiful, intelligent humans, and they are very capable. Maybe they're not here right now, right? Like to do the thing right in this moment, but they are very capable of learning things because that's what you've taught them. And that's what human beings can do. We can learn things. They are capable of learning to do things. So again, I have walked the walk to be able to talk the talk. And I want to take you back to an Erin that had little babies. My kids are 3 years apart. And I remember that when my son was just born, he was probably somewhere between like 6 months and a year old. And that is when I decided that I wanted to go back to school to get my master's in counseling. Love that for me, right? Good choice. Um, so I've got a little one at home, and I have my daughter, who at the time would have been like 3 to 4. And I decided I'm going to go to school. And this is not an online school. This is an in-person school. And it's at nighttime. So what are we going to do now? And I know I'm laughing about it, but you might be in a situation where a lot of the duties in your household fall on you. This is the mental, emotional, physical burden of motherhood. I will not go down that rabbit hole, but maybe we can talk about that another day. In my home, I was doing a lot of the things to care for the kids, to care for my house. I was doing nothing to care for myself. And so we just had to have some really honest and open conversations. My husband and I, he is super supportive, very loving, and really stepped up in an incredible way. Like we share household duties right now, 50-50. I actually laugh because he probably does more than me. He listens to all my episodes, so he's going to be like, yeah, think you finally said it. But he probably does more than me. I joke that his job is cush. He's got the easy living life. He loves his job, literally loves every second of it. And he has a lot more flexibility in his schedule. So he does more in our house, I feel like right now, if I was to rate it right in this moment. But in the past, it was not that way. And so I just had to tell him, or ask him, I should say, how can we make this work? I'm not going to be here because I'm going to be in class. So what are we going to do? And with that, he was able to kind of take over a lot of things in our house. So that's one moment in time where this kind of really pops up for me. Another time, I feel like this is story time with Erin. Another time was when the kids got a little bit older and they're able to do some more chores around the house. I felt like at the time, a lot of the chores fell on me, even though, of course, my husband was doing a lot of the help with like childcare, like helping raise our kids when I was in class or doing my internships or whatever it was. I still felt like that there were things around the house the kids could be doing and they weren't doing. And even my husband, who's great. Again, this is not like my husband doesn't do anything. No, this is not that talk. I have a piece of paper and I think I still have it on the fridge, even though we've moved. Maybe I trashed it. And I wrote down who was doing what in the house. Like we had a conversation. It's not just like I told them what they're doing, but okay, here are the choices. Here are the chores that we need to do every day, every week in our home. Who's going to do what? And we are not a perfectly clean house by any means, but the dishes got to get done. The floor's got to be swept. Somebody's got to cook for us. Somebody's got to do laundry, like basic things. Okay. So who wants to do what? And that's kind of how we settled on our chores. And we were able to delegate those. That doesn't mean that we don't step up. Again, my husband be doing my chore a lot. He's just gonna like laugh at this episode, but my chore's the laundry, and we know he'd be stepping up and doing the laundry often. Okay. All the people that are close to me in my life, or if you follow me on Instagram, you know he cooks every single thing we eat around here. And maybe he doesn't love it. Maybe he wants to switch chores, but that would not be good if I was the chef around here. My point is, You are able to delegate things to other people in your life, and they are very capable of learning how to do them. That doesn't mean they're going to be done perfectly. Semi-perfectionists got to let go a little bit of control. It will get done. You may have food still in your dishes as they go in the dishwasher, but the dishwasher can handle it, okay? That's what I tell myself when I get frustrated about the food on the dishes. We have to be willing to delegate and let them take over some responsibility. This is the only way that you're going to offload some of the things on your plate, on your calendar, on your schedule, on your to-do list to someone else. And that's going to take away a lot of the overwhelm. Do you know how relieving it is for me when I see dishes in the sink to go, oh, like not just one more thing for me to do? That's cool. Love that. It can be the same way for you. My dishes in the sink could be something completely different for you. Right now, this episode, we're talking about moms, overwhelmed working moms. Delegation could be a tool that you use in every area of your life. So we're going to start small with what we talked about today in your household, in your family. What can you do to delegate? Again, would love to talk about this and options that you have on other episodes. Okay. All right. That's number 4. Tip number 4, our last tip. Tip number 5 is to clear your calendar. And I know you're thinking, screw you, Erin. Like, maybe you're not thinking screw me, but how am I going to clear my calendar? If it was that easy, I would have done it. I know that. Okay. I know that. What I want you to look at when I talk about clearing your calendar is what can you say no to? If you pull up your calendar, pull up your Google Calendar with me or your paper calendar. I'm pulling up mine, looking at it. What can I say no to on here? What do I look at and I just go like, oh, I dread doing that. I don't want to do that. Like, oh, why did I sign up for that? Like, what can I take on this calendar and maybe say no to? Maybe I need to cancel. Maybe I need to reschedule. Maybe I just need to not do the thing. And this might hurt some feelings. This might leave some people disappointed or frustrated. Their response is not our responsibility. Okay. Their reaction is not on us. We have to do what is best for us. I'm not suggesting you leave people high and dry. I'm a team player. I love to help people. But when you are feeling the way you're feeling right now, because you're listening to this episode and you're overwhelmed in some capacity of your life, we have to be willing to let something go to feel less overwhelmed. So what's the thing you got to let go? And with this, I'll leave you one final reminder. If you say yes to everyone else, you're saying no to yourself. All the things that you have agreed to do, all the things that you've said yes to on your calendar that are taking up your time and space are taking up your energy. And when our time is run out for the day and our energy is depleted, we can't possibly do anything else to help ourselves. So when you say yes to everyone else, you say no to yourself. My friend, to be able to say yes to yourself, you have to be able to say no to other people. That is my loving reminder. I'm speaking to my people pleasers who just want to help. Again, I see you, I feel you, I love you. And it is not our responsibility to be everything for everyone. I hope that was the encouragement that you needed to hear today. Okay, let's review my 5 tips for overwhelmed working mamas with high functioning anxiety. Number 1, take some time to decompress. Number 2, set some boundaries with your family. Number 3, check your expectations and that pressure you're putting on yourself. And number 4, delegate. And number 5, clear your calendar. My beautiful mamas, I hope this was everything you needed to hear today. Hopefully you take one tip and put this in place in your life in the next week or so whenever you can. You are doing incredible work. You've got this. You don't have to feel this way forever. That's what I want you to hear. If you take one thing away from today, you don't have to feel like this forever. Okay, there is a different alternative. I promise you, I'm here to support you in that. If you want to learn about ways I can help you, send me a message on Instagram, send me an email. You can find all my links below. I would love to be there for you, friend. Okay, hope you have an incredible day, and I'll see you in the next episode. Hey, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. You don't know how much it means to me. If you'd like more behind the scenes content, inspiration, and daily reminders that encourage and uplift you, follow me on Instagram at Hey Erin Kimbrell and send me a DM to say hey. If any of the episodes have been super helpful for you, please consider leaving me a review on Apple Podcast, Spotify, or wherever you like to listen. It helps me so incredibly much, and it allows the podcast to be seen by other people who need it. If you want to learn more from me, head to erinkimbrell.com. That's where you'll find all my free resources, read the podcast show notes, and learn more information about my online coaching and breathwork programs that help you create the life you want. If you want to keep the conversation going from today's episode, join us in our exclusive podcast Facebook community, Empowered and Free Help for High Functioning Anxiety. I'm here for you, and I'm always cheering you on. I'll see you next time. I'm Erin Kimbrell, and this is the Empowered and Free podcast.